Hey everyone! So as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be attempting to cut my hair into the Middy haircut. I have had this haircut before. I had it around the same time last year. I let my hair grow out into this, and unfortunately none of the stylists in my area know how to read the diagram. I am going to attempt to cut it myself. This could go really good, it could go really bad. I'm hoping I don't end up on like one of Brad Mondo's videos. I have prepared, I got myself some actual hair cutting shears, I have a comb, and I have some reference videos that I'm gonna use. Typically with curly hair, you would want to cut it when it's dry so that it's not uneven. But if you want to style your hair in pin curls, something that is not your typical hair texture, it is easiest for me to cut my hair while it's wet. So I'm gonna go wet my hair and then we'll get started. Okay, so now that my hair is fully saturated, I'm going to part it into 4 different sections. 2 on the side of my head and 2 in the back of my head. The ones on the side of my head are going to come from the top of my head down behind my ear, and the ones in the back of my head are going to go from the crown back and split in the center. This mirror over here in back of me so that I can see if what I'm doing in the back of my head is even or not. So I am quickly realizing that this shirt is not the one to wear for cutting hair. So I'm gonna change my shirt really quick and I'll be back. Okay, so I've changed my shirt to something more suitable. And I am starting with sections on the back of my head. I have 2 pieces of hair that are split from the 2 sections on the back of my head. The diagram has a measurement of 4.5 to 4 inches. I'm gonna be a little bit more conservative than that and cut at 5 inches. That is chopping off a lot of hair. And because I've never done this before, it makes me a little bit nervous. So I have my measuring tape. So 5 inches is right here. So I'm gonna be cutting about that much off and taking my scissors. You may have noticed that I am not cutting at an angle right now, and that's because this is the back of my head, and when I brush my hair forward, the hair all the way in the back of my head has longer to travel to the front where I'm cutting, and the hair right here on the side of my head has less distance to travel. So when I'm cutting it at a straight line like this, it's actually creating a U shape because the hair pulling to the front is actually at all different distances depending on where it sits on your head. Another struggle with curly hair is, at least my curly hair, is that it curls when it's wet. So anytime that I try and do this to compare the length, it's not like straight hair where it just sits flat and it's easy to tell. I have to pull the hair down and look and see if it matches approximately. I'm gonna part out 2 more sections from each piece in the back and we're gonna cut again. So using the last hairs I cut as a guideline, I am going to cut in the same spot. I have a spray bottle filled with water and I'm just gonna re-wet the sections as I bring them down. So far, so good. just finished cutting the back portion of my hair. If you can tell, but the hair is in a U shape because we brought the hair forward to cut it straight. I'm gonna go one side at a time and part my hair out in sections again, bring it down using the hair from the back as a guide. I'm actually going to cut this hair at an angle so it's shorter in the front and longer in the back. I have thin hair, these sections aren't very big, but I'm going to use a piece of the hair from the back as a guide. I'm going to bring it down at an angle like that.
And awaiting a heart of palpitating, longing for my lady love so dear. Lazy moon, why don't you show your face above the hill? Lazy moon, come out soon. You can make me happy if you will. When my lady sees your face a-peeping, then I know her promise she'll be keeping.
Okay, so now that this side is done, I'm going to do the other side the exact same way and I'll be back. Okay, so I am back. I re-wet my hair and parted it again. We're done with the sides and the back of the head in terms of the general cut. Now going by each side, I'm going to over direct the hair, which means that I'm going to bring it forward. And we're just going to make sure that everything is nice and even cut on an angle. And I'm going to go around each side of my head to the center back. Now that that's done, we have a really nice dramatic U shape going all around the head. And now it's time to cut layers. So I'm going to be parting my hair now at the top of my temple, like right above the temple on my head, bringing it straight back and then around my head like that. So it's going to be a section around the top of my head, including the crown, that I am going to basically cut the layers into so that when the hair falls back, it'll be layered.
And away you go, oh, so slow.
Okay, so I have the hair parted around the top, and I am going to take a 1-inch straight section in the front of my head. So now that I have the hair parted in a 1-inch section in the front, I am just going to pull it forward, and these little scraggly ends there, I'm just going to chop off. Using the hair I just cut as a guide for the other side of my head.
Place to go where they play that music sweet and low.
Okay, so now that this hair is cut in front, that's going to serve as the guide for the rest of the hair as we pull it at a 45-degree angle to cut the layers. Let me show you how I'm going to section it. Look a bit silly, but in that front section that I cut, I parted the middle piece, and then in the crown hair that we separated, I also parted the middle part on top of the crown. So what I'm going to do is, using this hair that we already cut as a guide, pull the hair from the crown out at a 45-degree angle, and using this hair as a guide, I'm going to cut it.
Lord, I could just die, lay me down and die whenever they cry. Play the Alamo rag.
So now that that first section is cut, I'm gonna start with the right side of my head and part sections and cut at that same 45-degree angle.
What is it, dear? What is it, dear? Ain't you glad you got a babe like me that takes you out upon a jubilee?
Okay, so my camera cut out when I cut the other side of the layers on my head. I did let my hair air dry, and this is what my hair looks like in its natural state with the Middy haircut. I hope this is helpful if people who have a hair texture like mine are considering getting this cut and they're worried about days when they don't want to style it. If you're interested in seeing how I style my hair with pin curls, I'm gonna make a separate video for that and I'll link it down below. I am going to style it and be right back and show you what it looks like when I pin curl it. Okay guys, so this is the final result of the Middy haircut that I gave myself. I think it turned out really well. The styling came out just how I wanted it. I will link the reference video I used down below. Without that video, I would have been totally lost because I'm not a hairdryer, because I'm not a hairstylist. And I hope that this also gives people the confidence to cut their hair at home, even if they have no experience like me. To get a similar haircut from a hairdresser in my area, it is typically about $120, and I think that it came out well enough that I will continue to cut my hair this way in the future. All right guys, so that is the video. I hope you were at least entertained by watching me cut my hair, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.